King Henry doesn't usually drink chocolate milk much. Did you know that? Well, he doesn't. I think it's because it upsets his stomach. But anyway, King Henry doesn't usually drink chocolate milk much. Why is this important to us as nurses? Well, not for the reason you might think. The reason that it's important that King Henry doesn't usually drink chocolate milk much is because it helps us remember the prefixes in the metric system. We have kilo, hecto, deca, the unit without a prefix. We have deci, centi, milli, and micro, right? King Henry doesn't usually drink chocolate milk much. Kilo, hecto, deca, the unit without a prefix, deci, centi, milli, and micro. So now let's look at the units. Now we either multiply by 10 to move down this scale, or we divide by 10 to move up. Let's start in the middle. We're going to start with the unit of just 1. So as I move down, I multiply by 10 at each step. As I move up, I divide by 10. You're all familiar with that. I mean, if this was gram, you know that 1 gram is equal to 1,000 milligrams, right? Very good. So as we move this direction, we multiply by 10, and as we move this direction, we divide by 10. If we're talking about just moving the decimal places, then as we move this direction, we move the decimal place that way. As we move this direction, we move the decimal place this way. Alrighty? Let's see if we can find another way to remember this. Okay, so here we have a lady who's out here to help us, and she's very chatty, and she uses her hands when she talks. And she has just bought a new house, and it is a huge house. It is just the biggest house, and she is so very excited. When she starts to talk about this new house, her hands are in the neutral position. But as she talks about how big this house is, you can see that her hands move out to the side. They're really stretched out. She talks with her hands, and as she talks about something that's really big, she's got her hands stretched out far and wide. She's talking about her big house. Then she's even more excited now because she's going to tell you that it just cost a small amount of money to buy this big house. So, as she's talking about the small amount of money that it costs to buy this house, she gets so excited. She brings her hands together so quickly that they overlap as she's talking about the small amount of money that she used to buy this new house. We're not going to fault her for her hands crossing because she is really excited about this small amount of money that she spent. So when she's talking about the big house, her arms are spread wide, and when she's talking about the small amount of money that she spent on it, she brings her hands together and she's so excited that they cross in front of her. All right, so let's look at the metric system now. When we talk about kilo. It's big, isn't it? When we talk about micro, that's small. When we're moving from big to small, we are going to be dividing, when we're moving from big to small, we are going to be multiplying the numbers. When we move from small to big, we're dividing the numbers. Just the same way this lady is. She's doing the exact same thing. When she's talking about this big house of hers, she's got her arms spread wide. She is a division sign. When she's talking about the small amount of money that she spent, she's got her arms crossed in front of her because she's so excited. She's a multiplication sign. So if I'm talking about 1,000 milligrams, and I want to know how many kilograms that is the number in front of kilograms going to be bigger or smaller than 1,000? It's going to be smaller, isn't it? Because we're dividing as we move up. As we go to bigger, kilogram being bigger than microgram or milligram, we're dividing. If I'm starting here with milliliters and I want to know microliters, let's say I have 2 milliliters and I want to know how many microliters that might be. Is that number in front of microliter going to be bigger or smaller than the number in front of milliliter? It's going to be bigger because as we move down, we're multiplying. As we move up, we're dividing. All right? So just remember, when you're talking about bigger things, your arms are spread far apart, you're dividing. When you're talking about teeny tiny things, you bring your hands closer together and you get so excited that they cross, you're multiplying.